This is Goku or Go Home. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Alex, also known as everybody's favorite white noise.
You can technically my favorite white noise.
All right, so I'm Phoup's favorite white noise, and you would be Phoup. Phoup, do you have anything to say for yourself?
No, other than describing you as my favorite white noise.
So we have white noise and someone who enjoys white noise. This is, like I said, Goku or Go Home. It is a Dragon Ball watch-along podcast. Essentially, I've watched through Dragon Ball when it first aired on Toonami a long time ago. And a couple of years ago, I wanted to watch through it again. And it is now my third time going to be watching through the original Funimation dub of Dragon Ball. Meanwhile, you...
Yeah, I've never watched Dragon Ball in my life before. I've just grew up just seeing Goku just everywhere, plastered everywhere, without actually knowing what he's gone through.
Have you seen anything of Z?
No, nothing.
Not
Nothing.
Even anything of Z. So we're starting from
Nothing.
the very, very beginning.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
let me tell you, I did not expect anything. It was far beyond what I thought it was gonna be.
Okay, that's kind of like the perfect place to start too, because when you think of Dragon Ball, I guess what comes to people's mind is people flying around, standing in the air, and screaming and shooting laser blasts and fireballs and charging up, going Super Saiyan, and it's all wild and crazy stuff. Calling the name of your attacks. That's all pretty.
Oh yeah, you see that everywhere. Well, at least from where I saw. But no, I usually like to question everything, and usually the background story of like characters. And Goku, no one ever made sense to me. If I ever try to put anything together without any like context, like where did he come from? Who is this man?
And wouldn't you know it, when we start off here, they don't really tell you.
No.
When they first started off making Dragon Ball, it was a kind of like a retelling of Journey to the West. Okay. And that's why his name is Goku, because of like Son Goku, the Monkey King or whatever. That's why he had the tail.
Yeah.
But Akira Toriyama likes to write by the seat of his pants, and so when it came time to actually flesh him out and give him backstory, they're like, no, I planned this all along, and this is actually how it's supposed to go. So this is just going through the original Dragon Ball. I currently do not have any plans of going through Dragon Ball Z after this, but if it goes well, I don't know, if you want to do it, maybe. But, I think that we should get started with Episode 1, The Secret of the Dragon Balls. And I'm actually not going to start off by talking about Episode 1, because I want to talk about the absolute banger of an intro that is called Mystical Adventure. I don't know if you actually sat down and listened to the theme song.
I did. I always listen to the openings of any series I watch at least the first time, and the ending.
So, I've seen through the show. I don't know how many episodes that would be, but I've seen through the series. This will be my third time through, and I always sit through Mystical Adventure. That thing is 2 minutes long. It
Every
shows
episode?
off. Yeah. Every episode, it's 2 minutes out of the episode to do this like, it's the ba 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 da, ba 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 da, and like I used it for the Goku or Go Home intro when I was cutting it together. Actually, funny story about that. I wanted to use the audio, like the vocals from the song, in the intro somehow. And when I was first cutting together an intro for Goku or Go Home, I actually had to just say balls Lol. But I'm like, I can't really think of anything to do with this, and so I just dumped that. Uh, but it shows off, it's got a good collection of Goku, Bulma, and all the other characters that we're going to grow to meet, and it's using some really, really good animation. Like, I think that's pretty standard, right, for an anime to have better animation during the opening than during the episode itself, because it kind of draws you in.
Yeah.
Uh, like, there's a lot of cool lighting effects, and the backgrounds are really well done, and...
I mean, for like an old show, I didn't want to have too much of a high expectations, but I liked it. I really liked it myself. I don't want to, like I said, to make it too hard on such an old show, but it did great.
It's from the 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's really kind of cool is, from what I understand, Mystical Adventure is the song that they used in Japanese as well, but they translated it and kind of gave it their own spin in English. As far as I'm concerned, I think they have a really good line in there. It's ageless and timeless, and I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good fit for most of Dragon Ball. There's a couple of things that we'll get to that really don't age too well after how many years? The dub's been around since 2001, so it's been 20 years, and it shows its age sometimes. But I think the animation and everything really does stick the test of time. So, this is a Dragon Ball show. Let's actually talk about Dragon Ball for a change.
Oh, that's fine. I was actually just quickly searching up the both English and the Japanese, and I don't know. I don't know which one I like more.
Do you like the English one because I can understand it better, or do you like the Japanese one because it's the original version? And I guess after growing up with Dragon Ball, I'm gonna be one of those jackasses and say I really like the dub, and I cannot watch the subs.
Really?
Yep, I'm one of those guys. But
I think when just shows in general, when they do such a good job with dub, I would prefer to watch it in dub if they do such a good job. Like,
some people will call it like kind of like, oh, it's corny. It's there's too many jokes, or they do silly voices, and I'm like, to me that kind of makes it better.
I've had a couple people tell me they couldn't watch the Japanese version because of Goku's voice.
Yes, that's precisely why I cannot do, because they do things differently in Japan, and the original voice actress for Goku who does Kid Goku, they have a lot of respect for her, and so they kept her on as adult Goku. And I do not think it works, but that's just me being a lazy American. But shall we move on? The actual episode itself starts with a narration in kind of a once upon a time kind of a way, which immediately introduces and then kills off Grandpa Gohan. They're like, oh yeah, an old man named Gohan, he found a boy in the woods, and then after he died, it's like, oh, okay. The intro also gives us the things that we need to know about Goku, which is he is a freakishly strong dumpster baby, and he was just left in the woods, and like I said,
on a fern.
He
was a baby, or something like a grass fern or something.
A mossy log, I believe Goku says somewhere down the road. But what I find very funny is they just kind of plop that on you and expect that to be okay. But this aired after Dragon Ball Z, at least here in America. Because back in the 80s when this first aired in Japan, this was the starting point of the series. But for us, we kind of got the Z first, and then they kind of marketed this as a prequel. So... you already know Goku's intro if you're watching it on Toonami, or his origins, So the fact that they kind of just gloss over it on this, I think, is kind of funny because now you have no idea, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, I know. First thing I immediately noticed about watching the show was the backgrounds are all watercolor paintings, and they're all super well done. They're all like really tall, mountainous, like East Asia, rural, inspired kind of stuff. Like they don't give an exact location.
No, it doesn't.
It's just like, oh, this is. I expect to see this on some like Chinese ink painting or something like that, and it's really nice.
I didn't want to say that, but a lot of the buildings did look like that, and it certainly didn't help that. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff. It was just Goku's house. I'm like, damn, this is probably like. Oh no, there's more Chinese stuff that I want to like bring up later.
Yeah, it's a very Goku's house is a very small like shed almost, but it's got like the Chinese rooftops and it's always fun for me to go back through and just kind of re-experience the show for the first time because right out of the gate I totally forgot dinosaurs just exist.
that's honestly one of the things that just made me that just keeps on questioning what more questions than answers.
Like maybe you think of like, oh well, does this take place during a certain time period or a planet or whatever? And it's a fantasy world. I get that, but the fact that one of the first like animated things that you see when the episode actually starts is just a purple pterodactyl just flying. And it's just really really setting the stage, I think.
I did ask myself in my head if this was on Earth. So many things just out the window that would just make this place Earth.
I think it's Earth as in like this is planet Earth in this world. Mm-hmm. Not we're not going to go to.
That's something we should compare to our Earth.
Yeah, we're not going to go to Kentucky and Dragon Ball World. I'm sure Goku would love some of the Colonel's Kentucky Fried Chicken. But speaking of Goku, we first see him and he's got this huge razor red like log cutting saw, and he is just walking on that spinning log, riding it down the mountain like it is nothing.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, he is a thick boy. Like he is freakishly strong and he is really small and he is just a pudgy little meat boy. I love Goku's kid design. It's great. One thing I really do like about this intro sequence is it really shows that Goku has just been doing this probably since he's been able to walk, just because it's so natural to him.
Ever since Grandpa passed.
Grandpa did all the work and then he died, and now I just have to do it all. Goku does a lot of breathing and posing exercises, which I'm sure is fundamental for some lumber work. I don't know, I've never actually done any lumber work. But he just he grabs onto that huge thick cut log and he just hurks that some bitch into the air, and then he breaks it with a single kick, and all the pieces they break apart and they fall into nice neat little piles.
The sound of those wood stacking, the clacking noises was
they're like
yeah.
And then right out of the gate, all of that hard work, Goku's hungry. So you have Goku being strong, like super competent at physical tasks, and loves food. And I don't know if you know anything about Goku as a character prior to this point, but that is a perfect summation of everything that Goku is. And that's pretty great. Like, I've seen people who know nothing about Dragon Ball, but they see Goku, like, as a character when he's not, like, super serious, and he's got kind of a silly look to him. And one of the first things that I've heard someone say was, he looks like he likes to eat.
And that's the thing. I was afraid that I was actually not gonna like the show because of Goku, because I thought it was gonna be like how do I say this? Just boring.
Like Goku has no character.
Yeah. But I actually really like the humor they have with Goku.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like. It's weird. Not really weird, but like, if you've never seen an anime before, I don't think Dragon Ball's a bad one to start with.
No, none at all.
Like it's silly enough. It has the adventure aspect of it, and I really do like it as kind of an introductory kind of anime.
Mm-hmm. It's like we've only watched well, I've only watched 4 episodes so far, and I would say I really like it. I would recommend it so far for someone who just got started in anime. Um, Certainly not like me when I first started in middle school, which was like, what's that one anime? High School of the Dead. That was my first anime, technically.
I think most people would probably start off. Well, most people my age would have started off with something like Dragon Ball or Sailor Moon or
Like Naruto or something like that.
well, that's a little further down. That's probably
Is
like
it?
someone.
Is it?
That's someone probably 3 years younger than me, 4 years younger than me.
Bleach?
Yeah, somewhere around in that range.
Okay. I'm thinking about all the ones that like I started seeing when I barely like
Mm-hmm.
had a self conscience, you know.
Next thing that happens in the show, the narrator introduces Bulma, and he says something along the lines of, Goku's journey will take a radical turn. Totally radical. And Bulma gets out of her cool little car. And she's got a pink shirt that says Bulma on it. And I kind of want a shirt that says Bulma on it. So she stops the car to check on her dragon radar, which is what I've got showing the waveform on the episode.
I'm not gonna lie. When you first drew that, I had no idea what the hell that was supposed to be.
It's very important. The dragon radar is the key to the Dragon Ball adventure.
Yeah, the moment I did see it in Bulma's hand, I realized what it was. It was pretty obvious.
So yeah, she stops the car, checks on her dragon radar, kind of like checking the GPS on your phone. Bulma, responsible driver, not using devices while on the road. Yeah, be more like Bulma. Get a Vegeta in your life. We cut back to Goku. He is praying to the 4-star ball, and he's talking to it like it's his grandpa. It starts glowing at him, which he's like never seen. He's like, "Oh man, let me see that again!" And then when it doesn't happen immediately, he just walks away, like he's a child with ADD.
I'm not gonna lie, I was waiting for his grandpa to pop out.
You thought he was gonna come back?
I actually thought he was gonna come back.
Well, who can say? Maybe Grandpa Gohan will come back. Goku leaves. He goes to get some fish, but he needs a pre-meal meal and gets some apples. He's like, "Oh man, I want some fish, but I'm gonna need something to eat first." So he jumps into the trees. Goku has a tail.
Yeah.
You don't really see it, but this is important. They kind of zoom in on it as he's like hanging like a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Goku eats a couple apples and throws the core down at the ground, which bonks a saber-toothed tiger in the head. And they start doing like a Looney Tunes kind of chase.
Oh, the Roadrunner and the Coyote.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. While Goku's running away, he's like doing it really fast, and he's got this silly little animation that looks like it's 2 frames, where he's just like one leg out, and then the other leg out, and then one leg. He's just going real fast. And he pulls one of those goofs where he runs off the cliff, and he's like standing there momentarily, and then he looks down, and then his eyes bug out.
Oh, man, I had to pause because I couldn't remember Roadrunner's name for the life of me until I just searched up Fast Bird Coyote.
that one silly tune. What was that called? Looney Friends? Maybe. The tiger falls, and I can only assume that he is dead because he falls so far into the river, and that's like hitting concrete. Like, from that height, from that speed. Goku, he was just goofing on him. He was holding on to a branch, which then also falls. And Goku is now... He wants to go fishing. And I remember before we started doing the show, I said that I was going to have the Akira Toriyama patented cock and ball timer. And here we are, finally doing our first show. 6.5 minutes into Dragon Ball, and Goku is butt-ass naked, pissing on camera. Akira Toriyama knew what he was about.
I remember I wasn't too surprised about it. But
Yeah.
about him just showing his little pee-pee, you know. Because I remember seeing that scene at one point in my life, so I knew what to expect eventually with that.
Were you expecting it? Were you
But what I
expecting it in the
wasn't
first episode?
that's what I was gonna say. But I was expecting it to be front face in the camera when he kicked the fish or something.
So yes, he uses his tail to fish, and I don't know anything about fishing, but is that something that's possible? Like, do fish go after such big?
Yeah, I forgot what kind of fish, but I've seen videos of people actually just using their thumbs or their hands.
Really?
And they would actually come and like
just chomp on it.
And then they would just pull the fish up.
Well,
It's
just
insane.
it. That's just it. He's bobbing his tail in there, trying to get the attention of the fish, and this giant fish just like flies out of the water, and he kind of jukes it out, and then he just flies at it. Yeah, like you were saying, with a single kick, just cock and balls on full display, just like center frame. Akira Toriyama, my guy, he knew what he was about.
and that's what. And when I saw that scene, right, that frame,
yeah, I
was like, did they put this on TV?
And I'm trying to remember back to when it was on Toonami, and I have to say I think it was censored somehow. Either they cut certain scenes out, or they did something.
Because I remember that America, I think it's America. Correct me if I'm wrong. Specifically, if it's just the policy on the studio where they do some pretty hardcore censoring on these shows, like animes.
Yeah.
I remember seeing. I first learned about Yu-Gi-Oh cards with Magical Girl. I think that's her name. Where they made her breasts Dark Magician Girl, and they made her breasts like smaller, more covered up, and they're like. In the post I saw it, I was like, "How dare you do this to my Dark Magician Girl?" And it only made me learn more about it when I saw a video more specifically about this case on One Piece, where they changed the guns into water guns.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was specifically for kids.
Okay.
The anime, or not the dubbing company. They would often buy up the rights to anime, and Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, One Piece during their initial runs. They would censor them, and Pokemon. That's where you would get the scene where Brock holds up a rice ball, and he goes, "These jelly donuts are my favorite."
The onigiris.
Yeah. So that happened a lot way back when. Probably not as much now. But when Dragon Ball was first airing, I want to say there's a scene in a later episode where Goku is naked and he rolls over. And I want to say they cut the scene early or something, or they censored it some other way by shuffling a couple of scenes around. But that scene in my head specifically is when I realized, like, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't... There's a little more to this show than I remember. Goku walks off with the fish and proceeds to cross the street without looking both ways and is immediately hit by a car into a tree. Bulma thinks that she's killed a kid in the woods and probably doesn't have to worry about anyone finding out. So remember, responsible driver Bulma immediately strikes this kid with the car. Goku thinks that.
This is where I actually just my impression of Bulma like just begins like right here. The moment she just rams a child with her car.
Yeah, she's like speeding down this like country road and just I'm not looking out for any children possibly crossing the road and just.
I'm just gonna say this that I don't hate Bulma, but my impression of her character does get worse immediately after.
So this was kind of like
Child.
starting at a high point for you,
Yeah,
and then as she goes on, she kind of gets worse.
kinda, but like I know that she's not trying to kill Goku. That's for sure.
I think that this is a great introduction to Bulma.
Like after learning that she can't kill Goku, which we'll get to in a second, I just realized she's just a really great character to have with Goku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Goku thinks that the car is a monster and is able to pick it up and throw it with some effort, which I think is actually a really good indicator of Goku's limits. Because, he lifts the car up over his head, but he looks like he's kind of struggling with it. But that's still a lot of weight.
Ours, yeah, especially if it's like an old car made out of like steel. If it's not like ours.
Yeah, no. Goku throws it, and Bulma kind of like pokes her head out of the car, and Goku says, "Don't tell me you've used up all your power already, monster." And immediately after saying that, Bulma shoots him in the head.
Oh my god, I'm telling you, it immediately got worse after that.
No, Bulma's getting points here.
I'm like, she just ran over a child,
pulls a gun on him,
and Goku's like, "Come out, monster! Is that all you got?" And she's like, "I'm not a monster," and then starts blasting the kid with a gun.
Zero hesitation. Bulma pulls that heat and fire. I counted 5 shots before Goku even hits the ground.
And eventually she's like, "Oh, I'm not a monster. I'm human." Goku's
Yeah, that's
Goku's like, "Oh, you're human? That's good, because now I don't have to fucking beat you up."
Yeah, Goku just gets up. He's rubbing his head, but he's fine. And I'm just like, Goku's bulletproof. He's a child who's bulletproof. Bulma says, "You shouldn't be alive, kid." And like, she's willing to waste a child? Bulma might be the best character in Dragon Ball?
And I mean, she and then eventually I just thought she's probably not a bad person if she eventually marries Vegeta, but I don't know how much that gives her credit for.
Well, there's quite a few episodes between that point and here, so lot of time for character development to get to that point. Goku says, "Grandpa told me about evil creatures like you. Your black arts won't work on me." A gun is black arts. I like that. Yes, Goku's never seen another human other than Grandpa Gohan. Goku, the ultimate feminist, is told to be as polite to girls as he can be. That's what Grandpa said. Goku, the ultimate feminist, immediately lifts Bulma's skirt up after saying that. In his defense, he was checking to see if she had a tail.
It's like a cultural difference thing.
Yeah. He's just some forest monkey baby. He's never seen city folk before. Never seen girls, other humans, whatever. Never seen cars either.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally seen absolutely nothing other than what Grandpa Gohan had showed him before immediately dying. Just want to stress that point. Gohan, the loving caretaker, is nowhere to be seen. Goku invites her over for lunch, but Bulma thinks that he wants something improper. But I don't think Goku's ever had a sexual thought once in his entire life. Like, even extending into Dragon Ball Z, when Goku has children. I don't think he knows what it is.
He's like what do you call it? He's just a cell here to reproduce.
He reproduces by budding asexually. Bulma shares her name. Goku immediately laughs at it. Bulma thinks her name is very elegant. Bulma's name is a English version of the Japanese pronunciation for bloomers, as in underwear.
What?
Bulma, Buruma, which is her Japanese name, which
Yeah.
is how the Japanese would say bloomers, which is a type of underwear.
I just can't believe I didn't catch that earlier. I'm not surprised. I'm just surprised.
You're
They
learning
did
so
that?
much. You're learning so much.
They did that?
Well, you gotta remember that a lot of the names in Dragon Ball are puns. They're
Yeah.
Vegeta is a vegetable. You've got
Yeah.
Bulma, which is bloomer. Her last name is Briefs, as in like underwear. So Bulma
My favorite
Briefs.
duo is actually, at least from what I know so far from the 4 episodes I've watched, is Shumai.
Shumai.
Yeah.
So-
Shu and Mai. Shumai together. It's like a type of like Chinese like dim sum food.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because I knew some of the other character names and everything. I didn't catch that one.
Okay. Yeah. I don't
when-
know if that was intended or not, but it had to be. It had to be.
I guarantee you it was. But
Okay.
it was just lost on my white sensibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I only get the big ones, like, trunks, as in underwear, trunks,
Yeah.
briefs. Goku invites Bulma into her home and immediately shoves Goku aside because she sees that Dragon Ball and is primed to steal it. And Goku's like, hey, get your hands off my grandpa! And Bulma pulls out 2 other Dragon Balls, and Goku doesn't quite get it. He's just kind of jealous that Bulma has 2 grandpas. The balls react when they're close together, and you can clip that one out. The balls react when they're close together. They make a nice, like, meow sound, and I really like it. Bulma explains a bit about how the balls work, and it goes on to say, if a bad person got a hold of these balls, nice. Speaking of bad people, we are immediately introduced to Emperor Pilaf, Mai, and Shu, just like you had mentioned.
How do you pronounce the emperor's name?
Pilaf.
Pilaf?
Pilaf.
Pilaf. Okay.
Yes, Pilaf. It's a kind of
No matter-
rice.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Pilaf rice.
I like that.
Mhm.
No matter how many times they said his name, I just could not get it. It just went in and out the other ear.
Yes, the 3 of them. Pilaf is a short little, like, bluish gremlin man.
Mhm.
Shu is a ninja dog, which I really like the ninja dog Shu. Mai is a girl.
She kind of reminds me of like maybe it's just her jacket. It's
She's
like
got a military
the,
jacket on. I kind of like it.
It reminds me of if she only had like the Russian hat or something, like a USSR.
Kinda, yeah. I could see
Yeah.
that. But I will give credit where credit is due. It was the 80s. They didn't really have girl characters in shonen manga back then. So the fact that, one of the quote-unquote main villains is this girl who's, like... She's the smartest one out of all of them. Like, the bravest, most competent one. So, I'll give him that. But, like, she doesn't have a thing other than being the girl.
Oh, okay.
Right out of the gate, you can tell that they're all bumbling idiots, except for maybe Mai. Mai knows how the Dragon Ball works. You need 7 to grant the wish. How she knows doesn't seem to matter. That's the one thing I didn't quite get while going over these episodes.
Well,
It seems to be like it's this legend. They say
Yeah.
that the Dragon Balls do all this and everything. But a lot of people don't seem to know about the Dragon Balls. I want to say there's a line in there somewhere that Bulma says, you and I are some of the few people on the planet that know really what the Dragon Balls are all about. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, how do you all know about this?
Yeah. There is one character that I at least expected to know what it was. Which was the Hermit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
Pilaf explains his wish. He wants to rule the world like a little Napoleon man. And as he holds the Dragon Ball, it does a really nice crossfade back to Goku. And now we're filled in like he is.
Mm-hmm.
Bulma wants to wish for a boyfriend.
Now that I did not know. Maybe they had no other reason goal for her. I guess I could see it.
Well, that's just it. Bulma's got all this tech and I assume all this money, and yet she's traveling the world, going on a grand adventure for magic wish granting balls for a boyfriend, which Goku wants none of. He's like, nah, that's kind of a bad wish. And doesn't want to give up his Dragon Ball, but Bulma thinks that she can trade with Goku. In exchange for the ball, she'll give him a little peek.
Oh, man.
And the Chad Goku deflects with, what do I care about seeing your dirty old fanny?
All I could say was when I watched all 4 episodes was just wild.
I cannot see this flying today.
That's why I said, sometimes I don't think it ages well. I think that maybe with some proper censoring of things, they could get away with more stuff. But as it is in its raw format, I don't think you could. No.
I think it's just one of those OG series that's probably just untouchable by now.
It's a time capsule in a sense, of which they don't make them like this anymore. But also, it's like in another 20 years, will I be able to go back to this again and watch it with the same kind of sensibilities?
That's
probably.
But with the amount of wild stuff that was happening in just the first episode, I thought was in the span of a
set.
In like a whole 24 episodes, like a whole season.
Yeah, like they kind of packed this one full of some of their jokes and stuff.
Like I saw clips and stuff of some of these episodes, just maybe 5-10 seconds of these clips here and there, throughout my life. Little did I know that they were just packed into these just a single episode.
They're kind of rapid fire too,
Yeah.
Ever the Swindler, Bulma gets him to tag along so they can find the other Dragon Balls, and he can keep his close by. That's kind of like the deal that they make. Mm-hmm. And so here's my question that I'm going to pose to you. Does she know that the balls scatter after the wish and is kind of holding that information back? Like, she knows more than she lets on, and she wants to keep him on as a bodyguard while she wishes for a perfect man. But does she know that all the balls are going to scatter around the earth again, and he's going to lose his ball?
I didn't even know that. Did I miss that in the episode somewhere?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. That's one of the things that happens, and I don't know if she knows that, but she kind of promises, "Oh, you'll get to hold on to your ball anyway, so don't worry about it. You can keep the 4-star ball on you. That's your grandpa's ball, fine." But she seems to know more about this is how the wishes work. You can summon the dragon and get a wish, and you have to collect all 7 balls. She has to know, right?
I don't know if that's in her character or if the writers didn't think that far.
Well, Akira Toriyama probably didn't think that far.
Okay.
Another question for you. Do you think that the dragon will create a perfect man, like some kind of homunculus, or will he have to scour the earth and like find the perfect match, like he's some kind of dating app?
I assumed it was the second one.
So like he just go like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna scour every single person on Earth, and I'm gonna find the one that's got perfect compatibility with you. This might take a while. Goku says, "Oh, we'll go hunt balls," which is funny.
I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, if that was me, either just have it just drunk or just a kid, I probably would have laughed harder at that.
Like every time they say, like saying Dragon Balls all the time is kind of a mouthful. So a lot of the times that they'll just say, "Oh, the balls. Oh, I got a ball."
I do like that.
Bulma shows off her Dragon Radar, which is like, a map or a GPS for the series. And it says that the closest Dragon Ball is 700 miles away. So Bulma pulls out her Dino Caps box, and I love the designs and the ideas like implemented in this series. And while I'm sure that all those little capsules are secure in that little box, I like to think that the slightest bump on that box would just set off all the capsules at once and make it explode. Just like, they're all in there and they're all secure, but like one little bunk and then just
I kind of wanted to see them drop the Dragon Balls, because they're like, are they like gems? Is it glass? Will it chip if it like hits something?
Whenever they set it down, or like it has the ability to kind of like roll against something, it does kind of sound like it's a solid glass or gem like material. They call it a jewel. They call it a jewel at times. So I'm going to assume it's very hard.
Okay. Something that maybe only diamonds could probably scratch.
Maybe they're more durable than that. We don't know.
Yeah.
There's a big old, like, on-screen BOM, like a boom sound effect visualized, and a motorcycle comes out of the tiny capsule. And Goku calls Bulma a witch. And I love Goku. She says there's no such thing as magic in this world, but, this world also has people shooting fireballs out of their hands and flying around.
Oh.
I mean, as far as we know, at this point in the story, that's not common, but, I mean, like, people shooting fireballs out of their hands, that's like casting spells, right? That's magic.
Like, if I was in this universe, I'd probably be as ignorant as Bulma, but I wouldn't be as ignorant enough to shoot a child.
You're just gonna gamble that you're gonna end this child's life. Goku thinks that the motorcycle's another monster, which is great. He taps it with his power pole a few times. Also, Goku has a power pole. We don't talk about where it came from, just roll with it.
Yeah. I just accepted he was the Monkey King at that point.
He's a stand-in for the Monkey King. The motorcycle is very fast. It spooks a chimp. It's going so fast that there's a little monkey in the tree and it spooks it. Bulma, being the expert driver who recently ran over a little boy, immediately loses control of the bike as they go rocketing off a hill. I think Bulma's great.
and that's why I said that I couldn't hate Bulma.
Like, every time that she says, like, I'm a good driver, or don't worry, I've figured this out, immediately gets fucked over.
That's actually the humor I actually laugh to a lot, because that's just the bogus stuff I always say as well. Even Goku says stuff like that too. Mm-hmm. And I'll get to that later. When we get to like what was it, the third episode?
Bulma, after such a traumatizing event, has to pee and gets mad when the clearly sheltered kid doesn't pick up on the lingo. And Goku says, I don't get it. Why doesn't she just pee right here? Akira Toriyama, we gotta have a talk, okay?
Pit stop.
Doesn't understand what a pit stop is. Let's blame the monkey boy. Bulma immediately calls out for Goku, and he's like exasperated at this point. He's like, make up your goddamn mind. In which we find our first like actual villain for Goku to fight. He's a giant talking pterodactyl, and he's evil. He claims that he has fancy dinner reservations for 2, and since he claims to be a friend of Bulma's, I'm not going to be mad for Goku letting this happen. Like, he has no frame of reference for the outside world, and he's just like, oh yeah, sure, kid, I'm a friend. I'm a friend. Believe me. You're like, what, 5?
Yeah, kind of like no social skills and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It can be developed.
And he gets tied up in, like, just a quick cut. And he gets tied up, and Goku says, gosh, I think he was lying.
That's like his first, maybe second possible lie.
The dinosaur calls Goku Einstein and tells Bulma that he wants a Happy Meal, which implies that both Albert Einstein and McDonald's exist in the Dragon Ball universe, and I really don't know how to feel about that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you're fine? You
I'm
go to
okay
McDonald's in Dragon Ball world?
Hey, there was one episode I've seen that drive-throughs exist.
Drive-thrus do
cars
exist.
And there were some people trying to get their license from that one episode I watched.
I like that out of Dragon Ball Z episodes that, maybe people have seen or whatever, everyone seems to know about the driving episode.
Well, for me, that Dragon Ball Z episode, I didn't know about it. It was because my friend was like, dude, I just watched the best episode ever.
And it's a filler episode that always
gets cut out. And it's a filler episode. And this is when I went, I think this is when I was at his house after class, and he just puts it on for me. He's like, look at Piccolo driving.
Look at the funny green man.
And that's the funny part is that's all I remember from that episode.
Bulma gets carried away by the dinosaur and calls Goku an idiot. And Goku says, well, gee, I don't blame her for being upset, but she doesn't have to go calling me names. And then just undoes the rope with a single tug of his tail.
Yeah, that was cool.
Goku's kind of the man when it comes down to it. He learns how to ride a motorcycle because he thinks that Bulma made it fly and wants to use it to get up to Bulma. He's like, come on, I know that you flew before, so do it again. That doesn't quite work. So we get the first use of the power pole, which is Power Pole Extend, which I really like the power pole. One thing that I really like about original Dragon Ball is there is no laser beams or fireballs or anything like that. No one can fly. They just have to use planes or, tools or whatever. You can't just get up to where they need to go. So Goku, using his brain, I guess, extends the power pole really far and uses it to bonk the dinosaur on the head, which is like a great expression. And it like bug eyes breaks the pterodactyl crest on his head, and then he goes down and it plays the plane.
Oh, man.
The plane sound effect.
I actually love that. I love that.
And his arms are straight out and he's like spiraling. It's great.
It's just the comical stuff I just love from this series so far.
Goku throws the power pole at Bulma to save her. And as Goku's falling, he says, I really don't like to hurt anybody. And Goku's a good kid. I think that's kind of where I landed on after episode 1. I like Goku. He's a good kid. Somehow the power pole goes through Bulma's sleeves and sticks her into the side of a cliff. and she's peeing glittering sparkles in the sunset from on high.
Yeah, it took me just a second to realize that.
And this is what? The 4th pee reference in one episode? Man. The episode ends with a narration where it's just like, Goku meets Bulma, and there's gonna be more adventures on the next episode. And that's kind of a general way of how all episodes end.
That's what I picked up on, but I actually do like to listen to the narrator, because sometimes
He's
it's
got
a
a good
good way
voice.
to conclusion, and he's a good voice.
Then the ending credits show up, and I am really not a fan of the ending credits. The music, I don't think fits very well for Dragon Ball. But you do get to see more of Akira Toriyama's mechanical designs and some of the outfits that he likes to draw, and I really like seeing any time that he draws things that just aren't the standard outfit.
Yeah, actually, that was one thing I wanted to mention, is that I loved how Bulma had like a new outfit every episode.
Yeah, that's also really cool. Like, they have a wardrobe, except for Goku.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
He's got a little blue karate outfit. He's fine.
And I think my favorite Bulma outfit was the one that she had in episode 4, where she had the snapback with her name on it. Yeah, I think that one's my favorite one so far.
In the ending credits theme, the Dragon Radar shows a waveform when the song plays, and it looks nothing like the waveform I made for the show, and I'm upset about it. Because I completely forgot that was a thing that happens in the ending credits, because I never watch them. I usually skip. But I never skip the opening credits. Those are based. Which leads us into episode 2, The Emperor's Quest. And immedially I fell in love with this episode, because the first shot is an owl with a really cool hat coming out of a tree. He's got like this like mushroom hat or something, and it's got a star on it. It's great. Bulma drives a Kawasaki motorcycle. And I only know this not because of the design of the motorcycle, but because for one frame they forgot to edit out the Kawasaki logo.
No way! I gotta look this up.
It's just right there, like at the very beginning. She's driving towards the camera, and for one frame, I just was like, hey, "What's that? Does that say Kawasaki?" Goku wants to eat anything that's alive. Bulma thinks that that's gross. And Goku calls the Dynacaps magic witch bombs, and he does not like them. They spook him.
Oh my god, it does say Kawasaki.
You looked it up?
Because I really like her bikes.
Yeah, every single one of the machines, like Akira Toriyama does really good mechanical designs. He likes to draw motorcycles and little walkers and stuff like that.
They even have like, not just the Kawasaki, but they even have like names on them, like the KR250. That's the one I also like as well.
There's in the first episode of Dragon Ball Z, there's a farmer that he shoots at the bad guy. The bad guy catches the bullet and throws it back at him and kills him. He drives a Chevrolet truck. It says Chevrolet on it, and it's great.
I don't think I need to search that up after Kawasaki.
Bulma throws her biggest Dynacap ever, and it makes an entire goddamn house appear. And I kind of like this house. It's like a little dome house. But Goku thinks it's another monster, even though Bulma just explained what it was. So, Bulma turns the lights on, and we learn that Goku doesn't even know what electricity is.
No.
He's like, "Oh, Bulma, it's dark outside, but now it's light inside. How'd you do that?" Just to goof on him, Bulma turns on the TV, and Goku thinks that a musician is trapped inside and trying to break the glass by playing bad music. This little man's trapped inside.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to like break the TV for trying to free the man trapped inside the box.
I don't remember where I saw that, but I feel like I've seen that in a lot of scenes where
Oh,
people first see TV, you know?
like a caveman, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
a man," and he smashes it. Goku's kind of a caveman. I believe it.
I would say so. He's kind of more. He's primitive,
A primitive
but
boy.
at least,
Yeah, I like that.
at least he knows how to treat women.
He knows how to treat women. Bulma changes the channel to a soap opera of some kind, and I fell in love with the flat acting. I don't know if you noticed, but the characters are like, "Lila, I love you. Kiss me, you fool. I'll love you forever, my darling." And it's just like, it's in the background, so it's a little quieter. And I always love when studios do that. They add in little character bits that are like intentionally bad. It's kind of like how in SpongeBob, anytime something flies off screen or a character flies off screen, then you hear, "My leg!" It's just a little addition. Bulma is hard up for romance. She is drooling at that TV, and she really does need that boyfriend. This scene kind of pushed me over onto Bulma's side. Like, she's desperate. She needs this.
You're down bad.
She is down bad. We're not sure of Goku's age at this point, but it's revealed that he has never had a bath before, and he stinks. And what has Grandpa Gohan been doing?
I just assume that he just bathed, like,
Anytime
at a
he was
lake.
anytime he was going fishing, he would jump in the water, probably.
and just didn't know the concept of a bath.
Oh, okay, maybe.
That was my assumption. But I wouldn't be surprised if he actually never took a bath.
No, that's again, I think you're right. Maybe he knew how to bathe or keep himself clean enough, but he just never knew the word for bath. I can believe that.
Or do you think this is because Grandpa Gohan just never took a bath either, and Goku just picked up from it?
They were stinky boys. Grandpa Gohan's laying there, and he's like, "Now, Goku, if you ever see a woman, you gotta treat her nice.
God
And you
forbid
gotta be stinky.
take a
You
bath."
gotta be stinky, boy." Again, I was keeping track of these things. 5 minutes in, and now we've got Goku's cock and balls out yet again. Let's just take this time to acknowledge that Japan has different stances on nudity than America. I want this to be perfectly clear. This is not a jab at Akira Toriyama. This is just, hey, nudity is different over in Japan, and it's okay. It's just a bath.
Yeah, like you said, it's like, I don't know how old Goku is now. I don't even know how old Bulma is.
They're both ambiguously aged, I think,
Okay.
for where we're at.
But I just saw it as like an older sister just bathing a little brother.
Mhm.
I just didn't realize like how big they were in the original series. I always thought they were kind of like the same age, because eventually Bulma got married to Vegeta, and then Goku gets married.
Mhm.
I don't remember her name, to be honest.
That's okay. She's not that important. We'll move on to that later.
Okay. So I just assumed they were just all around the same age.
I
and that just made me
honestly think
realize
that
Vegeta might be a lot older than Goku.
actually, I think Goku's older than he looks.
Okay.
I think something down the road, someone gives a name or an age, and they say, "Oh, that's about the same age as me," or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of gives us a reference point. But as of right now, I have no idea. And of course, Goku, way down the road, he jumps in the hyperbolic time chamber, and he stays in there for a while, so he's like a little older at that point too. But we'll get to that point later.
Okay.
This is about the time when Bulma finds out that Goku's tail is real and not attached to his pants, and freaks out when he's able to grab a brush.
That's the thing. I didn't know she just ignored it.
They've been traveling for one
she-
episode.
Yeah, I thought she just accepted it when he said, "I have a tail."
Yep. Just checking. I'm just checking for a tail.
And yeah.
Goku gaslights Bulma into thinking that all boys have a tail, and what would she know? She's never seen one take a bath before, so who can really say? She's like, maybe boys do. Maybe they do have tails. Oh God, did they tuck it in their pants or something, and I just don't know? It's Bulma's turn to take a bath, and then Goku just waits in the bathroom, staring. and Bulma's she's not okay with that, and Goku doesn't understand why, and doesn't understand the difference between boys and girls. This is important. I need you to understand this. This is very important. Goku pities Bulma for not having a tail, which Bulma throws him out of the bathroom. She's just tired of it. We cut back to Emperor Pilaf's castle in the desert, where he's asking about the Dragon Balls, and I had to write this down because I really liked the line. Shu, the ninja dog, says, in response to, "Have you found the Dragon Balls?" And he goes, "No, sire, I got real hungry, so I came back." It's just like, oh, did you assassinate your target? No, I got a little peckish. I was sleepy, so I wanted a nap.
I just really love that ninja dog.
He's pretty great.
I would love like a little figure of him, just like a 2-3 inch figure on my desk of him. I'll look for it later.
They come back in Dragon Ball Super, so I assume they're marketable enough for them to come back and do more stuff with them. So maybe you can. I don't know.
All right.
Pilaf gloats about the qualities needed to rule the world, and he gets so angry he farts, which of course is peak comedy, and therefore this is a great scene.
It was a great scene. It's just I was caught off guard. I've never seen a fart scene in an anime before.
I'm glad that we're opening your mind to the possibilities of different things. He gets embarrassed about this, and he runs all the way across his dining hall to push a button which activates a trap, which is both dumb and hilarious. And not only that, but he makes a comment about it. He goes, I really should put that button closer to my chair. The trap is these dirty, grabby, sex dungeon hands. They come out of the floor and ceiling, and they hold on to his arms and legs and spread them out like starfish. And I really don't like the implications of Emperor Pilaf having these hands.
Just gremlin hands, don't worry.
We don't talk about a sex dungeon, okay? We have a great line from Pilaf where he says, "Do you think I'm capable of such a gross emission?"
Just comments like these.
It makes me wonder, what the original lines were in Japanese. And, when translated over, is that, super accurate? Or is it, localized in a certain way? Pilaf uses a chainsaw to threaten Shu, forcing Shu to admit that he was the one that farted. And I want to take this moment to remind you that this series has Goku fighting the literal god of destruction somewhere down the road. Here we're talking about farts. Mai interrupts everything with information about a Dragon Ball hidden in Skull Valley. And wouldn't you know, this is where Goku will end up at the end of the episode. We cut back to Goku eating dinner with Bulma, and Goku says, "Ew, this bread stuff doesn't have any flavor, and the soup is bitter too, and the soup is coffee, and this show's comedy is actually really good." For someone who eats like Goku does, you'd think that he'd have bread at least once in his life.
Oh man, he's just borderline caveman. He's only been able to. He's only from what I know so far. He's only eaten things that at least moved once in its life.
Or an apple. He's eaten an apple or things that are alive. Yes, Goku leaves to get food that will make him big and strong, and he ends up finding a bug. It's like a centipede or something.
Oh, so it was for Bulma as well, if I recall. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, Bulma could probably finish this all by herself.
I'm gonna need more food.
He sees Mai and Shu flying overhead and mistakes their plane for a bird, so now he wants to eat the plane.
Of course he does. That's literally what I said when he's like, "Oh look, a bird." Of course he's gonna go after the bird.
They land and they meet Goku in Skull Valley, and Goku wants to eat their plane. Suddenly, they're all surrounded by a pack of wolves, and Goku is stoked. He is gonna eat all of these wolves. And there's just something about Goku laughing like an absolute maniac while beating up animals that just doesn't sit right with me.
Look.
Yeah?
From what I know from Buddhism, as long as you eat whatever you beat up, it's fine.
All right, so you're gonna have to help me out on this one. Shaolin monks. Yeah?
Yeah.
They're monks. They know kung fu.
Uh-huh.
They get into fights.
Uh-huh.
Are they also cannibals now? If you have to eat whatever you beat up.
No. That wasn't my point. I'm saying as long as you eat it,
All right.
you're in the clear.
Okay.
If you kill it, for example, if Bulma were to hit Goku with the card, he actually died.
Oh, so it's a good thing that Bulma is a practicing Buddhist, so it's a good thing that she didn't kill him with the car.
At least
or the gun.
At least from what I've been taught by my monks.
Okay. I was
the ones that wear them J's.
The ones that wear them J's. The ones that get into their real nice sports car and wear them Jordans. Got a question for you.
Yeah.
Shu is a dog. These are wolves. If Shu wasn't an idiot, do you think that he could have talked to them? Like, even a little.
Honestly, I can see him as kind of like Meowth.
Meowth, like he gave up the ability to talk to animals so he could talk.
Like, no, Meowth can still talk to Pokemon.
Oh, I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
So he could communicate with them if he had stopped and thought about it.
Yeah.
Well, but, there's more going on later that I'll ask you about. I made a note to make sure to ask you about it. But so we'll put a pin in that one.
I legit thought you were gonna just straight up ask me if Shu just ate up if Shu ate the dogs.
would Shu have a problem eating dogs? You're a sick bastard. I love Shu's voice, by the way.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like a stooge.
Whatever, like when he jumps out of the plane, what does he say again?
He says something like, "I want to chew on these bones, but I'm so scared."
Yeah.
Mai and Shu, they try to escape. Goku uses the power pole again to launch himself up at the plane, and he kicks it out of the sky with one hit, which is pretty cool. What I thought was a really nice touch, though, was the camera follows the crashing plane, but the plane goes down faster than they expected to, and the camera has to, like, it overshoots it a little bit and has to, like, race back to catch the explosion. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was like someone actually manually operating a camera, and then like, oh, wait a minute, it's over there.
No, I honestly, I was just enjoying the show. I wasn't looking too much into it. I think
this is my third time through, so I'm catching some of these things.
Yeah, and as a first time watcher, I tend to just kind of turn off my brain and just try to enjoy the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But there are series that I have watched multiple times, and you do catch stuff that you don't always catch the first time. So it's interesting to see what you catch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So far, I've only caught Shumai.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. I totally forgot about this. Goku is upset about the bird, quote unquote, that he killed because it's as hard as a rock. He's like, I can't eat this. Goku goes back with his haul and shows Bulma, and he straight up just cooks the wolf on a spit roast. It looks absolutely disgusting. It just looks like a hairless like dog or wolf or whatever, and it looks all like brown and crispy, and it's just awful.
Did you see the centipede on a stick?
Yep, I saw the centipede. He had the centipede still.
I could not believe he actually kept the centipede till the very end.
He put it in his belt. He put it in his belt when he was fighting all the wolves. After dinner, Bulma makes Goku sleep on the floor like he's some kind of dog. And this is kind of where you learn a little bit more about Goku's origins. He says that his grandpa found him on a mountainside on a little bed of moss when he was a baby. So it's kind of... I wouldn't call it a Moses allegory, but, you know, finding the baby in the woods or whatever. It's not a trope, but I mean, you know, it's not uncommon in stories.
It's something.
Mm-hmm. Bulma asks why his grandpa kept his tail when, you know, like people have dogs' tails removed.
Mm-hmm.
And Goku says they shouldn't have done that to her because she's no dog. Bulma says, I don't know what planet this kid is from, but it's not Earth. And again, it's because this show aired after the Dragon Ball Z started up.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, like, that's kind of a nice touch. And then we move on to the pivotal Dragon Ball scene. Goku wakes up early and notices that actually there was plenty of room in the bed for both him and Bulma, so he climbs in and rests his head between her legs. Immediately, he notices something is amiss and slaps her right in the crotch. He just slaps it, removes her underwear, and screams so loud that Bulma wakes up, leading to the most poignant line in anime dubbing history. It's your balls, Bulma. They're gone.
Like, I have to give this show so much credit for how much it made me laugh, for how old it is, you know?
Again, this had to have been in the original show in some capacity, because I'm not even shitting you, this is plot important. Just our main man Goku slapping right up in there, taking off her underwear, and having a freak out. It's important to the plot. Also, Akira Toriyama knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But that being said, it just feels kind of wrong. Like I was watching this, and after the scene happened, I kind of looked over my shoulder, and I'm like, nobody saw me watch that, right? Either way, Bulma thinks that Goku's talking about her Dragon Balls, which is a good bit, because she looks and she's like, oh no, you must have been dreaming, kid. I got the Dragon Balls right here. Everything's fine. And they decide to start their day. While Bulma's getting ready, Goku goes out to exercise. And I love Goku exercising. Goku's exercise consists of taking a deep breath, flexing, running with his arms up like a doofus, grabbing a big old boulder, lifting it up above his head before bear hugging it until it crumbles into smaller rocks. Then he does a victory flex and then runs off to continue the exercise, and it looks very cute and silly. I like Workout Goku. He's dedicated to his training.
The more you go into these episodes, and the more I'm starting to think he's more than just the borderline caveman. I think he's starting to cross that border. I cannot convince myself otherwise. He's not.
Well, I mean, it's too early in the series to have known, if you were starting with Dragon Ball, that he was an alien, but knowing that he is an alien and knowing what the Saiyans are, they're essentially space cavemen.
When you put it like that, I feel a little bit better.
Yeah, like you're not entirely wrong calling Goku a caveman.
I guess I was just thinking too much into it. He can't be a caveman. He's from space.
Essentially, a space caveman. Goku goes on to slaughter his next innocent boulder, but he accidentally picks up a big turtle.
Oh, yeah.
I like Turtle. Turtle can talk, though. And remember I was saying that this would come up later. There's clearly different levels of animal autonomy. Like, there's regular animals that can talk, and then animals that are, like, integrated into society, that they wear clothes and have jobs, like Shu.
Yeah.
And just, like, what's the line? And, like, Turtle is just a sea turtle and can talk. I don't know if that means that all animals can just learn how to talk, or if that's if he's a special turtle. Bulma seems unnaturally calm around this turtle. Like, for all the things that she's freaked out about, she's like, oh, a talking turtle. Okay. Aren't you a little far from the ocean? He is lost, and he has been traveling for quite some time. Then they have a bit where they give him a bucket of seawater, and they, like, treat it like it's wine. They're like, it's an excellent year. I think it's an 87.
That's what they meant?
Yeah.
That's what they meant?
You know, like how wine snobs are like, excellent year. It's a 46.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, earthy tones.
I don't drink wine, so I wouldn't know. It just went over my head then. Because when they were like saying 86, 87, when he said 87, I'm like my gas for my car?
He's like, nope, it's an 87. Yeah, I also like Turtle's voice. He's like, oh, well, to put it bluntly, I'm lost. He's been lost for over a year. And knowing what comes next, it kind of makes me wonder how more things didn't go wrong. Like, not just for Turtle, but for the Turtle Hermit. Like, knowing who he is and his character. The sea is over 100 miles away, and Goku offers to carry Turtle that far, but Bulma kind of sucks here. She's, like, really selfish about everything. She's like, I'm not wasting my time to help out some turtle. Like, I feel for you, kid, but... I'm like, Bulma's kind of a bitch here. My biggest worry about rewatching all of this is, like, what characters am I going to have once previously liked that I'm going to kind of turn around on and go like, you suck.
There was one line where after she says over 100 miles, was it 100 miles?
Yeah, it's 100 miles to the ocean.
The turtle's like, I've been lost for a year. And then Bulma's like, oh, the ocean's it's like 100 miles away from here. And the turtle's like, that's gonna take me 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you get here in 1 year?
And I don't remember why he was away from the island that he lives on, but
I don't think he even
explained why he was.
I don't think it does. He's just like I think he says something along the lines of, "Well, to make a long story incredibly short, I'm lost."
Yeah, that's it. That's all he said.
And that's all you need. They do a really good exchange where Goku asks Turtle if women were like that where he comes from, and Turtle says, "Nope, most women have tails." And I like this reoccurring joke. So they do the thing that you see in a lot of movies and TV shows where they split up for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And Bulma says, like, "Oh, I don't need him. I can do this on my own." And then Bulma turns to see the biggest goddamn dinosaur you've ever seen stomping around in the background.
I like that scene. That was pretty cool.
You know how much I like this scene? I did math for this scene.
What?
Okay? There's a pine tree in front of the dinosaur's legs, and pine trees can grow to be 150 to 200 feet tall. So it goes up to his knees, and we just needed to take how many trees the dinosaur is tall, and I got about 5 trees tall. So the dinosaur is somewhere within the range of 750 to 1,000 feet tall.
Oh my god, I can't believe this.
Now, that's assuming that the pine tree is full-sized, but it's nature, and I'm just going to assume that it is, so I like having this giant dinosaur stomping around. Naturally, Bulma freaks out and drives after Goku upon seeing it, and that's where the episode ends. I really, really liked the ending to this episode. This leads us into episode 3, which is the Nimbus Cloud of Roshi. And I got excited when I saw the title, because I love Master Roshi. So while Goku and Bulma are taking Turtle back to sea, Bulma's just kind of still being a bitch about it. Goku asks why she's complaining and says, "You should try and think happy thoughts." And I like positive attitude Goku. You know, he's been out of his world.
Pure good boy.
Yeah, he's a pure boy. He's been out of his element for about a day and a half now. And he's just kind of rolling with it. And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
The gang is watched by afar by some kind of bear man. And, like, not a bear man, like a literal bear man.
It's just a bear.
And he's dressed in like some kind of Mongol warrior attire.
Yeah.
And he's got like a thick Russian accent. He's got a cool sword though. I like his sword. It's got a nice little curve to it. Goku absolutely loves to fight. And when they start fighting, he's just kind of like, what is one of those, like they're an inflatable punching bag thing that when you punch it, it like falls over and kind of wobbles back. Like as he's being attacked, like he's kind of doing this like backwards like dodging thing, and it's like super easy for him. Goku jumps on the bear's snout, and he's like really tiny compared to this bear. Like he's huge, and he punches him one time in the face, and he just knocks the bear out. And he slowly falls to the ground, and it makes like the earth shake and everything. And I love the fact that everyone that Goku fights just loses in one hit. Like he's so mind-numbingly strong.
It would amaze me that a character... No. One character I did see kind of make a comeback. Kinda. The pterodactyl.
He does kind of, yeah, he comes back and he looks a little annoyed, yeah, as they're like driving down the road. He's like, these assholes again.
Okay, I was gonna say that they're just gone. Like, I'd be surprised if there was any more screen time for these people that he fought.
Most of the time, yeah, they do just kind of leave.
But I remember the pterodactyl got just like an extra like 2-3 seconds of screen time.
He's there. Speaking of establishing shots, I absolutely love the little critters that they throw into some of these shots. Like, just, here's a new location. Let's pan over, maybe you see a monkey or something, or an owl wearing a cool hat, and when they get to the beach, you get this little, like, robot ninja thing clung to a tree, and it's got like a gas mask on, and it's just like, and then it leaves, and that's it.
It
Like
really
it-
shows the environment. Yeah.
It's a lived-in world, and I like it. They see Turtle off into the ocean, and he promises that they'll be rewarded if they wait. And since Goku has never seen the ocean, he immediately tries to drink the water.
I'm sure Bulma says something along the lines of,
You don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Oh, don't do it. We cut back to Pilaf, and about at this point, I got kind of sick and tired of the back and forth. I don't know about you, but I'm like,
I was okay with it
yeah, you're fine with it?
because it wasn't like being too obnoxious about it, just kind of casual back and forth kind of deal with the with Shumai and Emperor P.
And big old Peasy. Big Peasy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that, they're both doing shenanigans. Goku and Bulma and Pilaf and the gang. They're both doing silly stuff, but I think Goku's silly stuff is a little more endearing to watch.
Mhm.
But we'll see.
I think it just I was okay with it was because I kept saying Shu and Mai.
And you're just like, oh yeah, Shuma.
I love those two characters so far.
I guess yes. Out of all of them, Shu and Mai are better than Pilaf in a lot of a lot of the jokes land better.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, Pilaf has a really cool phone. It looks like a little dinosaur.
Oh,
and it walks up to him.
That. I like had like a neuron open up from a memory. I thought I had like a toy like that one time as a kid growing up. It didn't walk,
But it looked like a dinosaur phone. Or
it
something?
it was a dinosaur that it didn't hold a phone, but it looked exactly like that though.
Mm-hmm. No, I just really like the little idiosyncratic like technology things that he puts into this world that just look really dumb, but in a good way. He picks up the phone and he learns that an old hermit named Roshi has the Dragon Ball. So now they're going to have to go steal it from him. And this is kind of why I was saying, I'm like, okay, do we really need to jump back to Pilaf for this? Because now we're immediately back to Goku and Bulma. And the turtle returns, and for the first time, we get to see him. Based Master Roshi, first name, Chad. Bulma says that his outfit is cool, and she is right. One day, I'm going to look like Roshi, and that's a good thing. He's just a bald old man with a big old beard and mustache and sunglasses. He wears a turtle shell on his back, and he's got a Hawaiian shirt. He's got a nice kind of gnarled stick as a staff. Man, Roshi's so cool.
Pretty sure. I've never been to a convention before, but I remember when it was going on, there was always this one guy dressed up as Master Roshi. But the thing was, it was an actual old dude dressed up as Master Roshi.
God, that's so cool.
This event. Yeah, and he was there every year, from what I've heard from my friends.
Hey, the guy's he's got a good gig, and he likes. I assume people would take pictures with him.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
Mm-hmm. As a gift, Master Roshi wants to give Goku a magic carpet. And then there's a long pause, and he goes, "Oh, but Master, you left it at the cleaners." And he's like, "Ah, damn it, that's right."
I thought this was another censoring. I'm like, are they going to censor a cloud? Are they going to call it a carpet?
But no. He offers them the flying Nimbus, which is pretty substantial to the journey to the west. Son Wukong, he rides on a flying cloud. But I absolutely love the sound that the Nimbus makes whenever it flies. It goes... And and like it kind of has a little putter when it stops.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It stops and it makes like a bike brake, like in the air. The first thing Goku wants to do upon seeing it is eat it.
What is Master Roshi's response to that?
He's like, you don't eat it.
You bimbo.
He calls him some kind of name. Then he also goes on to explain, you have to be pure of heart to ride the flying Nimbus, otherwise you fall through. And Roshi takes the opportunity to show them how it's done, and completely falls through it. The turtle says that Master Roshi must have done something naughty. And knowing what I know about Master Roshi...
What could he have done?
What could he have done?
I wouldn't know, other than him probably just being just straight up horny.
He is. Hey, listen. You've got a private island all to yourself. You know, the Kame house. You know, Master Roshi's, like, babe shack. I'm sure he wants to make it. And here's the thing. Remember I said Turtle was gone for an entire year.
Oh, yeah.
Either Turtle, you know, could have been eaten, or Master Roshi could have gotten his... He could have gotten his fix as a horny old man, all alone, in the love shack known as Kame House. You know, maybe that's what it was. He sent Turtle away to get something, and then he's like, that stupid fucking turtle will be gone for a year. It's great.
Master Roshi could have died by the time the turtle got back.
No. Because there's a line later where, you know, the turtle calls him out on something. He's like, oh, Master Roshi, you were doing something terrible and naughty or whatever. And he goes, can't you just let an old man have some fun in the final years of his life? And then the turtle goes something along the lines of, but Master, you drank from the fountain of youth, so you can't age. So no, he can't die.
Did I miss that part somehow?
That line is somewhere. I don't remember if it's in this episode or whatever, but he does say that Master Roshi is effectively immortal. So yes, he could have kept his love shack going.
He could have kept the love shack going while Turtle is dying and lost.
Possibly eaten for a year.
Wait, no. Speaking of eating, remember what I said about like Goku's like they say they're not this, but then they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Goku is the savage space caveman as he is. He's like, I don't eat everything, as he holds the turtle.
Yeah. So he says something along the lines of, are turtles any good? And he's like, oh, no, they're poisonous. And he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. That being said, Goku was fully prepared to crush Turtle when he thought he was a boulder. Goku makes an attempt and easily lands on top of the Nimbus, meaning that he gets to keep it. Meanwhile, Pilaf and his gang finally land on Roshi's island, and like I said, he's got that cabana that says Kame House. It's cute, it's pink, I want it. Like, I love that little house. You know, for a hermit, you'd think that he'd live in this, like, squalor, but it's a cute little beach house. Like, it's got a nice first floor, TV, refrigerator, kitchenette area. And the island is super tiny. I love his tiny island. Pilaf wastes time trying to break into the front door, and he's got this little, like, universal key opener thing that just straight up doesn't work. He's like, a civilized mind uses superior technology. To bash down the door would be brutish. And then he puts this thing into the keyhole, and it just doesn't work. And then they're like, Emperor Pilaf, and the camera pans over, and they're just inside the door, or the window. They're like, the window was open. We'll unlock the door from the inside. Which is a good bit.
Yeah, I like that.
And then we keep doing this back and forth thing, and we jump back to Goku and Bulma again. Bulma is selfish, as usual, and also wants a reward. And the turtle's like, oh, she didn't do anything. She doesn't deserve a reward. But Roshi, being the Chad that he is, the total player, says that he could be persuaded if he could see her underwear. And Turtle is just shocked at this. You get a really good freeze frame of the this big wave crashing behind Roshi. The sky turns dark. He looks like real fierce and dynamic. It's like really cool. And this is
the evil within just peeking out from Master Roshi.
his dark thoughts. This is kind of where we get the cool old pervert prospector laugh from Roshi, and it's one of his defining characteristics, and it's great. He's like,
you can't take that laugh anywhere.
I love it. And Turtle realizes oh, now I understand why the Nimbus won't let you ride it. So Bulma really, really wants that reward and decides to lift her dress. And remember when I said Goku taking off her underwear was plot relevant?
It was a big plot, all right.
She just straight up flashes an old man, and he gets the whole cartoon bleeding from the nose when you see something arousing thing going on. And
what does he say after getting flashed? He says something like, before something, oh, I'm gonna faint.
He's like, oh, I think I'm gonna faint.
but I was laughing so hard because I didn't know if Master Roshi liked it or was so disgusted by it that he was gonna faint. I think, oh my, I'm going to faint from this.
I got the vapors. I think it's safe to say that Roshi liked it.
Okay.
While thinking of a gift for Bulma, she notices that Roshi has the 3-star ball attached to a little necklace pendant thing. And she asks for that as a gift. And immediately lets it slip that the Dragon Ball grants wishes. And Roshi's like, hey, I didn't say that you could have it just yet. And immediately she assaults him with several more flashes. She believes it to be more flashes of her underwear, but we know better.
That's not the case, yeah.
Roshi relents and gives up the Dragon Ball, and there's this weirdly smooth animation of Bulma cheering from obtaining the ball, and it looks like it was made for GIF reaction shots. Oh, here's some news, and you want to respond with some celebration gif or whatever, and so you have Bulma waving her arms and doing this little dance, and it looks like it was just made for it, even though gifs weren't a thing back in the 80s. As they part ways, there's a really good line from Roshi as he's thinking to himself. He's like, boy, I tell you, kids these days, they're like piranhas. I was lucky to get out of there with my staff and my sandals. And Roshi, again, is probably my favorite character of all these episodes. Goku and Bulma go back to their house, and that's where Bulma finds her underwear and learns the truth. And what's really funny is when I got to this point, my video player froze up. Oh. And so Goku says, oh, that's where I left them after I took them off this morning. And it took me about 10 seconds to realize that the freeze wasn't intentional. So it's just like, oh yeah, I took them off and I left them there this morning. Oh shit, this isn't supposed to be freezing. This isn't like a beat frame. Okay. I know Bulma had a pistol before, but this time she loads up an Uzi and just empties the clip into Goku's back. Granted, if you know that this kid is bulletproof, but it still hurts him, I think that's a fitting punishment.
Enough to justify you're allowed to shoot a child.
I don't know. Bulma's kind of hardcore, and after kind of Bulma flip-flops a lot, where it's like, oh, she's great, she's hardcore, she says good jokes or whatever, and then, she's a jerk, she's selfish, she's dumb, whatever. We go back to Master Roshi's island, and there's an alligator on the beach. Not like just an alligator animal, but there's like an alligator man, like on a lawn chair working on a tan.
It's like the cool alligator on a surfboard with sunglasses.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would describe him. And like, someone has broken into Master Roshi's house, and he just doesn't care. Like, Pilaf's goons, they're just tearing up Kame House looking for the Dragon Ball, but they can't find it. And so Pilaf is like, wait, I have an idea. And he goes outside to the alligator, and he pulls a switchblade on him. And it's about this time where I'm like, I think Pilaf is turning around. Like, I think I kind of like him again. He's just like, he says something like, lovely weather we're having today, right? And then he pulls the knife. Master Roshi returns and tells the bad dudes that he's already given up the Dragon Ball to a girl on the beach. And they all pile into their plane and they transform it into a boat, but neglected to get it in the water first.
But before that, I love the fact that they just accepted that Master Roshi just handed it to a girl on the beach as if it was like a normal thing.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, that thing, I gave it to the girl on the beach. And they say something like, oh, well, she couldn't have gone far, but, like, there's got to be a couple of islands out in the middle of the ocean here, right? Like, who's to say what beach? They need to get their boat into the water, so they ask Roshi to push them in. And, again, Roshi, being the best character on the show, punches a hole in the boat before pushing it into the water.
It's with his staff. I legit thought he was gonna like be able to just toss it in the water, and I just see him just stabbing it with the staff.
Yeah, he's like poking it.
He's just pushing it with the. He's just pushing the boat with his staff. That's normal. And I hear just a crack noise.
Yeah, he punches a hole in it, and then he laughs. Like, he's like, yeah, and then he pushes it in with his hands. So, this is premeditated. Like, yeah. I just want to reiterate this. He was fully willing to accept that he could have killed these three by drowning them in the ocean. And I think he was trying to make it happen. Bulma and Goku prepare to head out themselves, and Bulma wants to take the Nimbus, but immediately falls through because she's not pure of heart like Goku is. And that is fantastic. So that means that she has to ride on her motorcycle, which apparently isn't as fast as the Nimbus, and I like that.
Yeah.
Gives Goku a little extra something. I am absolutely in love with a lot of these character bits, and Master Roshi will continue on. Don't you worry. And finally, our last episode that we did was Oolong the Terrible, episode 4.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, when I first came to you with this idea, I'm like, hey, have you watched any Dragon Ball? And I want to say at the time, you're like at a friend's house or had a friend over or something, and you said, actually, I just watched an episode with my buddy, and it was about a pig?
Yeah, he was streaming it to me over Discord.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he actually is still watching it or not, but he's like, hey, I'm gonna stream Dragon Ball. You can watch it with me if you want. I'm like, okay. And that was technically the first time. I don't know what episode it was. I don't know who or anyone was in this show was other than Goku, of course.
Was it this episode?
It was this episode, yeah.
Okay,
it was exactly this episode.
So This is the only exposure to Dragon Ball that you've ever had.
Yeah, and this is like right before we started like the series with this podcast and like watching Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it was funny because at the same time I'm like, oh man, I'm getting this hankering. I gotta watch Dragon Ball. Oh, I would love to do some kind of project with this. And then I knew that you hadn't seen it, and I just wanted to make sure. And that's exactly when you said, "Oh, actually, I just got done watching one," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, you need to stop." Like, I'm gonna be selfish here for a second. I need this. I need a project.
Well, the thing is, like, I knew myself I wouldn't like continue watching it unless I had a reason to or just really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
So not only is this working out for me because it gives me an excuse to do something new with the franchise, but it gives you an excuse to watch through the series for the first time.
Yeah, this is first run.
Mm-hmm. This is where I made my note of Goku and Bulma riding along, and the fact that Bulma has a different outfit and vehicle every episode. Like, this is where she's got her snapback and her her zip up jacket.
Yeah, my favorite outfit so far.
Mm-hmm. It's a really good one. It's like red. It's kind of a Akira color, or like
yeah, that's probably what it
that's the
reminded me
jacket.
of. Akira, yeah.
And we get a reminder that they have 4 of the 7 Dragon Balls, which means if they keep this up, they're going to be able to make the wish pretty soon. Bulma, the expert driver, takes her eyes off the road for 5 seconds and proceeds to fly off the trail. And she falls for like a long time. Like, you could edit in a Wile E. Coyote fall whistle and it would fit perfectly. Like, just a... and just like... it would have matched. Yes, this is the episode where she's got like the snapback or the trucker cap that says Bulma on it. And I think that I should start getting clothes that just say Alex on it. I think it would be really funny. Just a nice fat hat that says Alex, or a shirt.
I just searched it up, the outfit to like the snapback. It looks like it has like another flab. It's not like embedded into the hat itself.
No, it's kind of like if she wanted to swap out whatever was on the brim or on the front of the hat there, she could swap it out if she wanted to.
Yeah.
But no, it is a really good outfit.
I do like it, yeah.
They come along a village that seems to have been abandoned, but they can tell that's where the Dragon Ball is. And I always like it when English pops up in Dragon Ball. Goku goes to knock on a door and it says, Sherman Priest. And I was wondering, like, is the town named Sherman? And, like, this is the priest that lives here?
Oh, I see.
Or is the resident's name Sherman Priest? Goku punches through the door. And he goes, oh yeah, that did the trick. And a strangely calm Bulma says, why didn't you just use the handle? This is where a man attacks Goku from the shadows with an axe, and it just gets wedged in his fucking dome. Like, it's
these people have no. They just have all the disregard of a child's life.
Like, he's fine, obviously, but like, when you first see it, it just goes, and it kind of looks like it splits his head for a second, and there's like this big meaty kind of sound. Like, it sounds awful.
Like, how does Bulma not go, my god, you just tried to kill a child?
Like, yeah, try to pawn it off, like, oh, you're a terrible person, I would never do such a thing.
Yeah.
The axe breaks because Goku's head is like just that hard, and then a big lump swells up, and I always thought that looks gross. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's got like the stubble on it, like it's the hair follicles spreading apart. It's just
I don't know if you ever had like a huge swelling before. Maybe it could remind you of that. I don't know what those feels like.
I don't know. It just looks gross to me. This man comes out looking like a young Dr. Wily, and he's got this thick accent. I tried to figure out what it was off the top of my head, but the closest I could come up with was maybe like like a Jersey, maybe like a Harley Quinn, or maybe like a Jewish accent where it's like, you know how anytime they say daughter, they go daughter?
Yeah.
And he apologizes.
Yeah, pudding.
Yeah, pudding. Yeah, daughter. He apologizes to them, mistaking Goku for the terrible monster Oolong. And Oolong is a tea. I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
Goku's first idea upon hearing the word daughter is to check for himself. The absolute madman. He's just slapping right up in there and confirms it. You're a girl!
In front of the father.
Yep. Bulma runs up behind him and punches him in the sore spot. The father really doesn't seem too bothered that Goku just, like, straight up reached for his daughter's crotch. I think that's a little odd.
Look, man.
But maybe he's got better things on his mind.
I thought he was odd when he tried to kill a child.
I will give him this. In his defense, he knows that Oolong can transform.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
So maybe he just thought that, oh, we thought you were someone else. The father explains that Oolong has the power to transform and change his appearance. They show him being a giant cyclops, a red demon, some crazy blue thing, and a Dracula. And the Dracula does not match Dragon Ball's art style at all.
No.
Like, it makes me think that they had some, like, vampire art laying around, and then maybe they threw it in or something. They're like, shit, we gotta cut some costs. What happened to that one Dracula anime that we were gonna make? Oh, we still gotta sell from it. Okay, this is great. Okay.
As you were explaining that, I just imagine them just having a poorly drawn Dracula and just having it just dragging the image around a frame.
Yeah, it's just like a single frame, just like woo. Oolong has been coming into town and taking their daughters while obscuring his identity, and they say that he's marrying all the girls. Have you actually looked at the townsfolk, though? Because there's some real winners in there. You got, like, this old Russian babushka lady, an actual goddamn cowboy.
I didn't want to say anything that could have gotten this criminal arrested. I was like, let's just roll with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I've got old Nana Babushka, an actual goddamn cowboy, guy with a thick mustache and a really tall sombrero, and, of course, the offensive indigenous stereotype. So now we get to find out that the dude's name is, in fact, Sherman Priest, which means that his daughter's name is Pokawatha Priest. And his daughter has, like, the traditional indigenous headband with the single feather poking out the top.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know if this is okay, but we'll keep watching.
It's, what is it called?
Like a headdress?
Yeah. That, like, holds the feathers and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's a little skeevy, if you ask me, but whatever. So she's up next to be married to Oolong, and after that, Bulma asks to see if they've seen a Dragon Ball, and old Nana Babushka steps up to the plate, and she's got the 6-star ball, but she's not just going to give that away. Bulma comes up with this, like, very widespread plan. It's like, hey, if we get the girls back, beat Oolong, and return the village to normal, will you give us the Dragon Ball? And she's like, well, if you could do that, then you'd be a miracle worker or whatever. And she goes, okay, Goku, do all of it.
You can't be surprised.
She's just like, yeah, Goku's gonna take care of that for you. By the way, where is Goku? Goku is busy getting all up in Babushka's dress. The dog just won't stop. And, like, at least this time, like, Nana's into it. She's like, oh, what a randy boy. The cowboy opens up his mouth to start talking, and he's Australian for whatever reason. Like, I'm sure someone on the dubbing team was like, yeah, I can do an accent. Throw it in, why not?
It's just, this village is all about diversity.
It's really ahead of its time. We're all the same people here. But then the indigenous dude starts talking with the thickest stereotypical Native American accent I've ever heard, and it does not translate well into 2021. It was a different time, but good God, it was bad. He literally says, and I refuse to do the accent, but he literally says, "Your courage stands as a great monument before my people." And I feel dirty. I was not comfortable with this scene. I don't know about you.
Nah, you already know me.
You thought, you know what? This seems a little tame. We should go further.
I think there was already a bigger issue here.
They're like, listen, we've already had 4P jokes in the first episode. Let's roll a little more in here. We gotta up the game a little.
We got a hermit probably breaking his his vows to
the vows of celibacy or whatever.
Yeah. we got a pig kidnapping like multiple girls.
Let's not split hairs here. We have a pig kidnapping children.
Okay. I just didn't know how old these children were.
They look to be about Goku's age.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
We got a woman shooting a child. I'm not letting that go.
No, I don't think you should. I think possibly Bulma should stand on trial for attempted murder, multiple degrees.
And I think that's most of the issues that I don't want to let go at the moment.
So far, yeah. No, we'll get
so
more.
far.
Don't worry about it. Bulma gets the idea to throw Goku into a dress and pretend to be Pokewatha, which he's not really a fan of, but they don't have time to come up with a better plan because Oolong shows up. He is a giant red demon in a bitchin' white tux. Like, he is a stylish motherfucker. But more importantly, he busts through the archway to the village, so we get a quick shot of the town name being Aru Village. And so, yes, we get the confirmation that Pokewatha's dad isn't the Sherman Priest, he is Mr. Sherman Priest. I'm the smartest man who ever lived. Because that's how I figured that out.
Okay.
Oolong rolls up on Goku, and Goku's kind of like crouching and turned away from him, and he can't really tell the difference between Goku and Pokewatha at the time. But they kind of rib each other, and they call each other fat.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you looking a little plump, my darling." And he says something like, "Have you looked in the mirror lately?" And he goes like, "Oh, you scamp!"
I love it.
Since this is, of course, production made by Akira Toriyama, Goku suddenly has the urge to pee.
Yeah.
Either this is done for comedy or because Akira Toriyama is a creep. And let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it's for comedy.
Before he actually went to go take a pee, which order was it? Wasn't Bulma already getting entranced?
Well, not quite yet. Not quite yet, because Oolong goes like, well, if I'm so fat and I'm so awful, would a different form perhaps make you make it more palatable for you to come along with me? And he transforms with
you got it.
A nice fat bomb sound effect. It's like BOMB on screen. I always like seeing those. It's like whenever Batman would punch somebody in the 1960s Batman, the Adam West one, He'll just go,
Yeah.
Zock! Wham! And this one is Bomb. He changes into a handsome man with a mustache, top hat, and cane. He is a straight pimp, and Bulma is instantly smitten with him, even though she watched him transform from a monster.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, like she's hiding behind the door.
Now I remember the order.
Yeah, she's hiding behind the door and then comes out with like drool and like, oh, look at this handsome debonair man. And Oolong sees Bulma, and his first thought is just motorboating a real set of badonkers. So like,
That's probably because like I don't know if you could call that fan service or not.
he's just like, and he's like cupping the air between or in front of his face. He's like, oh yes, oh, with a woman like that. I'm gonna ask you this question now. Is Oolong based? Is he as based as Master Roshi? I get a feeling that Master Roshi would do the same thing given the opportunity.
Well, I think Master Roshi was a lot better.
See,
No hesitation. No hesitation is like, give me the goods.
He's like,
and I'll
I can be
give you the
persuaded.
stuff.
Listen, I know.
Oolong, and then his Oolong is like, oh man, I can't pick between them.
Oh, that's true.
He's hesitating.
He does hesitate, but let's talk about his internal conflict for a second. He has to choose whether to decide to take Pokewatha or Bulma, and I think that's admirable. He is fully committed to Pokewatha and considerate of her feelings. Like, he's like, oh, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. But this temptress, this Bulma comes out of nowhere and tries to steal him away, which is incredibly rude. Oolong is lost in thought. He's still thinking about it, and Goku steps away to pee.
Wouldn't Oolong know that the little girl did not want him at all, though?
We'll get to that. Goku steps away to pee on a tree, and what Oolong sees is so sickening to him that he has a mental breakdown. Like, the screen turns into an abstract painting, there's lightning in the background, his jaw unhinges as he screams and freaks out. And I wrote this down. If there is one thing that I cannot tolerate, it is deception! Which is great coming from a transforming monster man.
Yeah, it's so simple. It's just dumb. Just lines like these when it's obviously coming from the people who should be speaking. Gets me every time.
Oolong transforms again with a big bakum. And he turns into a bull with a Spanish accent, and I'm just going to assume that that's another one to throw on the racist pile, but we'll just gloss over that one.
So it's piling up pretty quickly, and
in this episode in particular. Bulma doesn't seem to understand what's going on and goes back into the house, even though she saw Oolong transform before her eyes again. What is wrong with her? Old Sherman, he explains that Oolong deceives you by turning you in. I gotta get the voice. Oolong deceives you by turning into the one thing you most desire, and in that case, it's a man. You should be ashamed of yourself. Oolong and Goku square off, but it's around this point that you seem to get the feeling that Oolong doesn't really do much other than talk a big game.
yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm a big guy, and you're very small, and I'm mean. I'll get you. I'll kill you.
What are you gonna do? Kill me?
And granted, he's never met Goku before, so he can't really know how strong Goku is. But as we'll get into this a little more about Oolong's powers. I have questions. He notices a big clock and freaks out and then runs away and leaves the village. And he goes around a corner and he transforms back into his true form. He's a tiny pig man, and I don't know if you've noticed during the commercial breaks, but he's in there. They do a commercial break where
with the umbrella and
they throw the Dragon Balls
Dragon
and they're
Ball.
spinning an umbrella and they're like balancing them. But yeah, that's him on there.
Mhm.
And he claims that a good-looking guy like him has trouble scoring chicks. Which, sure, whatever. But he's only been kidnapping children. So I think that maybe we need to move him over to the cringe pile. Because I think at least Master Roshi wouldn't, like, kidnap children.
Yeah. He Maybe this is answered in the future, but how does Master Roshi bring girls to his island?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. He's got a method.
I knew eventually it'd be answered. Yeah, we could save that for later, I guess. I obviously have no idea. There's no way he puts them on the turtle, does he?
No, actually, Master Roshi's kind of a player. You know, for a hermit, you know, much like those Buddhist monks with them fly J's and their really nice sports cars. Master Roshi, he does have several Dynacaps and like vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, he's a Buddhist through and through. Oolong goes on for he goes into a short PSA about the art of transformation and how it should only be used responsibly, and that's why he uses it, because he was dogged by girls left and right. The power of transformation only lasts for 5 minutes, so that's his kind of Achilles heel.
Yeah.
And it has some kind of recharge time, because he sends out Goku on a wild goose chase for a bit, and while he's away, he has to come up with something fierce. And he transforms into a big axe-headed robot with a bowl of soup. And I kind of like this guy.
I did like it, but I didn't know if it was supposed to be a reference to something, or is just because...
Maybe. I think that was just his imagination kind of going.
Food-related stuff.
Mm-hmm. I do like his voice. It's kind of got like a down-pitched, not quite Darth Vader, but, you know, it's got like a little reverberation thing on it. And
yeah.
It's very like, ooh, I'm a very bad man. I was going to dunk you in this soup. Yeah, he threatens to dunk Goku in the soup, but he really doesn't back it up. He burns his thumb, and he's like, oh, it hurts. And I'm like, you're a robot right now. You should be...
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I feel like at this point, even Goku knows that Oolong just doesn't have any shit to back it up. And this little kid, Slingshot Johnny, he gets the same idea, and he slings a pebble into the back of his head, which actually hurts him. And Oolong goes, oh, you know you have a real little monster on your hands, lady. Kids these days. And I really like this whole sequence of just shitting on Oolong. Goku says he's not so tough, and Oolong replies that he's the fiercest, most impolite warrior on the earth. And that's a cool title. The fiercest, most impolite warrior. Goku says, well, you might be fierce and impolite, but I learned karate from my grandpa. And Oolong says, oh yeah? Well, if you're so good, break these bricks. And he pulls out some bricks, and Goku's like, I can do it with one finger. And he's like, oh yeah? Well, if you can do that, I can do this. And he turns into a bat and bails. Of course, Goku gives chase on the Nimbus, and we get a really fun chase sequence where Oolong turns into a rocket. and they fly around the cool mountainside areas. Just like really dynamic. Like they weave in and out of these really tall pillar mountains, and they.
Did you see how much that rocket was able to flex?
I saw how much that rocket was able to flex. It even like it kind of stops for a second in midair, and he has to pant because he's like working himself too hard. So also here's where I have questions. He's got to have some kind of bonus when he transforms, right? Like as the rocket, he's super fast, but he's not actively strong as the bull. Like. And when he turns big into like a giant ogre man, like he can crush buildings, so he's got to be heavy, right?
Well, I don't know how to think of Oolong because I don't know if it's just straight up perception where it's only visual, or if he's actually just transforming.
Well, he's actually transforming because he's able to fly as a bat or as the rocket or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems to be like strength is the one thing that he cannot have.
So
he can have speed. He can have the ability to fly. He can have mass, I guess, because he does break those buildings and he crashes through the sign at the beginning.
Has Oolong ever tried to transform into Goku?
Not Oolong. We'll get there. Not Oolong. We'll get there.
Okay.
The scene that
he's already getting pretty close to Master Roshi in terms of horniness.
Maybe you could transform to Master Roshi. I don't know. Oolong's 5 minutes run out, and he falls out of the sky, but Goku catches him. And he gets tied up, and he's forced to apologize. And I absolutely love this scene because he's tied up, and one of the villagers says in a very soft tone, like, "I can't believe I got scared by a pig."
That's probably one of my favorite parts from that episode too. It was just out of nowhere, but I heard it was so soft, the accent.
I can't believe I got scared by a pig.
And he's like, you should apologize. Like, I'm sorry. It's like the most insincere sorry as well.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I also like Oolong's like actual voice. He's like, "This is the genuine article." The entire town forces him to lead them to a little shack, as he calls it, where they find like a Chinese palace.
Yeah. Like
this huge palace, and he's like, you gotta grift a lot of people, kid. The offensive stereotype calls out to his daughter, and he says, again, I'm not gonna do the voice, "Little flower, it's me, your poopaw is here." And I really don't like this guy. They see all the girls, and they're like living in lavish luxury. And they're all like, "Oh yeah, I have a family. Shit." And like Oolong was hoping to make all of them maids and stuff. They're like, "Oh, I was hoping that they cook and clean and make food for me, but now they're lazy and self-serving, and I want them to leave."
I just didn't like how they talked about how busy they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oolong, darling, I'm all out of nail polish and lipstick.
And I need a new hair dryer.
How do you need a new one?
I don't know.
The thing that threw me off about this episode, though, is at the very end, it just ends super abruptly. Like, Nana Babushka, she hands over the Dragon Ball, and there's only 2 left. And one of those is the one that Pilaf has, but Bulma just holds out like, "Wow, we got it!" And then credits happens. Like, I got so conditioned to hearing the narrator go like,
yeah.
with one more Dragon Ball in the bag, but what about the evil Pilaf? Surely they'll have to meet up eventually.
It's amazing how fast they're collecting these Dragon Balls, and it's only episode 4.
Yeah, with a name like Dragon
surprised.
Ball.
I wouldn't be surprised if they already got their wish by the end of like episode 7.
So that just about does it for the first 4 episodes, the first round. What are your thoughts on the series so far? Because I'm genuinely like super curious about how you feel.
As someone that's actually really new to the series, never really watched other than this Oolong episode, I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm getting a ton of different laughs from just a lot of stupid shit that I feel like shouldn't be making me laugh, but it just is. I can't believe I got screwed by a pig.
Like that one especially does not seem like it should have been a comedy line, but it was done so masterfully.
It was done so well because obviously that pig was wreaking havoc.
You mean this fucking bullshit? Are you fucking kidding me? A pig?
Yeah, so if they keep on like keeping me laughing and interested in stuff like this and showing me these characters are so nice to watch and just act as themselves.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I've always really liked the soft art style that Dragon Ball has. I think the sharper angles that most people think of Dragon Ball Z having works for Dragon Ball Z, but I'm really glad that it starts off here and it's like cute.
Yeah, no, it's like with Dragon Ball, if I just think about Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball is all soft, it's round. It's like a drawing kind of attention kind of deal. Well, sharp angles and edges and stuff like that. It's kind of mean. Kind of gives out a strong.
Goku at the end of Dragon Ball Z looks hard. That's how I describe him. Like,
yeah,
I feel if I touched one of his muscles, it would just feel like a stone. And I feel like if I were to pick up Kid Goku
cut
here,
yourself.
Man, those abs. No, if you picked up Kid Goku here, he would feel kind of squishy, like just a meat baby. And I do like that. I think that it fits the series really well. It's an adventure story first, and the comedy and adventure comedy, and then action is like the spice on top, not necessarily the main focus.
Yeah,
which is great.
And I think it's a good way to start in the beginning of Goku's origin, because he's just a kid. You can't just start off all sharp and ultra instincts.
yeah, that's the other thing.
He's got to develop into it.
Looking at Dragon Ball in the current age, and you have Ultra Instinct Goku and Super Saiyan God and all these things, and I'm just like,
I don't even know all of them. I just know Ultra Instinct, and I know Super Saiyan 3. That's all I know.
and that's the thing. It's like, looking back on it, it's from humble beginnings, I suppose. And yeah, I said at the very beginning, most people think about Dragon Ball and they think of the Super Saiyan, gold hair, flying around, shooting huge laser beams, and as of this point in the story, Goku just knows karate. I like that.
Yeah, down to earth.
He's got a magic cloud that lets him fly, but it's not like that's a huge thing in combat. It's Goku chased a pig that transformed into a rocket, and so he used his flying magic cloud. So I'm actually super excited about continuing on. Are you ready for another 4 episodes next week?
I definitely am.
We will be covering episodes 5 through 8, which is Yamcha, the Desert Bandit. So you'll get Yamcha, the butt of Dragon Ball Z jokes, is actually kind of competent in Dragon Ball. And then we're going to cap off with episode 8, which is one of my favorite episodes, and two, kind of a big deal for the series because it's called the Kamehameha Wave.
Oh, that's so cool. I
So
like that.
obviously you know that one. The Kamehameha is the main fireball that Goku uses, and what I kind of like about the early episodes and everything, it's just throwing one of them is kind of a big deal, and they make a big deal out of it by really selling. Goku just whips these things out nowadays, but in the original one, it's gonna be, it's not the Kamehameha, it's the Kamehameha wave. And it's like it's got a wave at the end of it. You have to put effort into it, and I think you're gonna like that episode too.
Okay.
Episode 8 is actually the one of the first things that made me think, oh, I should draw. This is cool. So it holds a special spot in my heart. So I'm excited for next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to be really sharp on some of the scenes. Maybe I'll catch another pig scene.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to cover?
No. I think we just talked about the majority of what we needed so far with the 4 episodes, other than my opinions on it.
I
Really
also
liking
like
it so
this
far.
format. I think it works pretty well. Talked longer than I thought we were going to, but hey, this works for me.
Yeah, no, I got all my homework done before this. Even let my friends know. It's like, hey, you guys ain't gonna see me if this goes on for a while. I know this guy. We could talk for hours.
Well, I think that this is a pretty good format. I think that if this is what it ends up being for the entirety of the series, I'm very happy with this and can't wait for doing another 4 episodes with you next week.
Where are you gonna be posting these?
You're going to catch this one YouTube for sure,
Okay.
and possibly other places.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think that's the end of our show. Would you like to say goodbye to all the nice people that probably won't be watching?
Yeah. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in on our podcast. Listening to Alex on his experience in Dragon Ball and my first experience in Dragon Ball and my first impressions. Hope to have you guys tune in again on the next episode. Thank you.
Catch you on the flip side. Later, skaters!